Well, the Seahawks have finished up their final preparations ahead of the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, which means it is time for our three key matchups. Jen Mueller alongside Seahawks.com writer John Boyle. And John, when we start at the top of this list, it's got to start with a matchup you're going to be watching all game. Seahawks offensive line against an Eagles defensive line.
Yeah, early in the season we saw some of these really tough defensive lines. We haven't quite seen a challenge like what the Eagles present. You've got a Pro Bowler in Fletcher Cox in there. Brandon Graham's been playing great. The offensive line of the Seahawks has made some strides for sure. They're playing pretty well right now. They got the run game going a little bit. The protection's been solid. But they haven't been tested quite like this in a while, so it'll be real interesting to see how they hold up. And
George Fant will get a look at maybe an unconventional type of defensive line as he does stay on that left side.
Yeah, and that's, he's been one of the coolest stories of this season so far, to go from college basketball to now starting at left tackle. But again, he's going to be tested. It'll be really cool to kind of see how that all plays out.
And it will also be cool to see if Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin can continue the connection from last week. And wasn't it about this time last year they started to hit their stride?
It was. That combination, when they got going last year, they really got going. And Doug Baldwin finished season on a tear. Russell Wilson did as well. And by the end of the year, Doug Baldwin had a league best 14 touchdowns. Russell Wilson led the league in passer rating. So the fact that we see them hitting their stride a little bit again, kind of getting on the same page, exploiting one-on-one matchups when they're there, obviously the 3 touchdowns last week, that's a very good sign for this offense. And against an Eagles secondary that might be a little banged up, they've got some injury concerns, and if they're going to have to take some chances guarding Doug Baldwin with some guys who may not be quite their best players, look for the Seahawks to exploit that.
Yeah, they have had to use a few different cornerbacks this year, but they do have more interceptions than the Seahawks secondary. So it's all about the ball. Still got to take care of the ball.
And 2 very good teams at that. These are 2 teams +4 and +5 in turnovers respectively. So it's that's going to be important as always.
It is always one of those key stats. But here's our last key matchup. Carson Wentz against the situation. And you can say everything you want about how fun it is to play in Seattle, and it is. I'm not sure that that's the case for an opposing quarterback.
No, we've seen this. The Eagles this year, they're 4-0, 5-0 at home, and they are 1-4 on the road. That's not just because of the difference of home and road, the opponent matters, all that stuff, but Carson Wentz hasn't really played in this environment yet. You can say it's loud everywhere, but we all know it's extra loud in Seattle. You factor in the defense he's going against, it's going to be tough for him. And the Seahawks defense, they're licking their chops thinking, we got a rookie, he might make some mistakes, throw it to us, something like that. So how he handles that is probably going to go a long ways in deciding how that Eagles offense functions.
Carson Wentz will be the 3rd rookie quarterback to come into CenturyLink Field since 2012. The other 2, well, they didn't fare so well. Let's hope that Seahawks defense keeps the string intact. That is it for our 3 key matchups. Make sure that you tune in on the Seahawks Radio Network for the call on Sunday.